Welcome to Airborne Flight Training. Coming up on this week's episode, FAA issues flight training rule easing logging time. NPRM issue to expand Piper Wings Spar AD. Some college grads can skip FAA Air Traffic Control Academy. And I'm your host, Holland Lee. Welcome to Airborne Flight Training, a weekly program dedicated to future aviators and aviation professionals. Airborne Flight Training is brought to you in part by King Schools. King Schools has been leading the effort in producing expert aviation training programs and computer-based learning software for over 50 years. Find out why pilots love King teaching at kingschools.com. Now let's get into today's stories. FAA issues flight training rule easing logging time. The FAA has published a rule that's been long awaited by pilots, instructors, and flight schools that ease restrictions on transition training and other specialized instruction in experimental, primary, and limited category aircraft. The rule was proposed in summer 2023, and the issuance finalizes several changes to Part 61 and 91. It amends regulations for experimental aircraft to permit certain flight training, testing, and checking in the aircraft without having a letter of deviation authority. The FAA Reauthorization Act of 2024 extends the rescission of the load-up requirement to limited, primary, and experimental light sport aircraft categories. It also revises amendments related to logging recent flight experience, flight instructor privileges, and related prohibitions on conducting such activities for hire. The situation came about because of a situation that emerged a few years ago that for a short time made it legally impossible to pay an instructor to train in one's own aircraft, in this case, a warbird. The rule removes those restrictions and makes it easier to approve such operations and creates more opportunities for training available. The FAA is still working to resolve the question of trainees flying in large warbirds being able to cycle through different crew stations for training in a single flight. After the break, SkyAlyne awards CAE contract for future Canadian aircrew training.
Well, hello, fellow pilot. I'm John King.
And I'm Martha King.
You know, we've all had our flying lives disrupted lately.
Well, King Schools is here to help you stay up to date with courses that you can access on your desktop, iPad, or iPhone. If you'd like a refresher or just want to expand your aviation horizons, we have a course for you.
So head over to kingschools.com/rusty today for details.
Welcome back. Now let's take a trip around the patch for some shorter stories. SkyAlyne awards CAE contract for future Canadian aircrew training. CAE announced it signed a 25-year subcontract valued at $1.7 billion with SkyAlyne, a joint venture between CAE and KF Aerospace, to provide modern, state-of-the-art training for the Royal Canadian Air Force. CAE, as the major subcontractor to the Future Aircrew Training Program, will deliver comprehensive aircrew training including ground school training, live flying, and simulation. Through this, CAE's long-standing presence at 15 Wing Moose Jaw will be extended. CAE currently operates the NATO Flying Training in Canada program. Atlas Air and Spartan Education partner on Pilot Training Academy. Spartan Education Group announced a partnership with Atlas Air to introduce a new pilot training initiative named the Atlas Cadet Academy, which will provide a comprehensive curriculum and aeronautical knowledge to prepare for the FAA certification and rating exams. The Spartan program also includes training in teamwork, leadership, and flight skills that will be used by graduates serving in both passenger and cargo operations. Atlas, one of the largest Boeing 747 operators in the world, will leverage the Academy to bolster its workforce development efforts. FAA gives United the all-clear. After nearly 7 months, the FAA has put an end to its period of increased oversight on United Airlines. The agency found no significant red flags in its safety review. The FAA opened a review of United Airlines in March following a chain of concerning incidents. In February, a faulty actuator caused rudder pedals to jam on one of the carrier's Boeing 737s. Then on March 15th, a United Boeing 737-800 flight shed an external panel while traveling from San Francisco to Rogue Valley, among other issues. New F-35 training facilities open at Ebbing ANGB. A ribbon cutting was recently held for the completion of new F-35 facilities at Ebbing ANGB, which shares operations at Fort Smith Regional Airport in Fort Smith, Arkansas. The facility will be used to provide flight training for international pilots in the Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II advanced fighter aircraft. The ceremony highlighted the collaboration between the Air Education and Training Command, the 33rd Fighter Wing of the Arkansas Air National Guard, the Fort Smith community, and international partners. Well, that's it for today's trip around the patch. Let's get back to the rest of the news. NPRM issued to expand Piper Wings Spar AD. The FAA has issued an NPRM that will expand the models of Piper aircraft that are subject to the AD adopted by the FAA in January 2021. The AD requires wing spar cap inspections and was prompted by an accident involving wing separation on a Piper model PA-28R-201 Aero-3. The issue is primarily found in aircraft used in flight training and other aircraft used predominantly in high-load flight regimes. An investigation by the NTSB revealed a fatigue crack in a visually inaccessible area of the lower main wing spar cap. The original AD included Piper models with similar main wing spar structures as the Aero-3. Based on a compilation of airplane usage history, the FAA determined that only aircraft with a higher risk of fatigue cracks, such as those being used in flight training, should be subject to the inspection requirements proposed in the AD. Since then, the FAA evaluated inspection reports submitted by operators and determined that wing spars and additional Piper models should be inspected. This AD would require a review of aircraft maintenance records to determine if an eddy current inspection of the lower main wing spar bolt holes was done, and depending on the result, doing a one-time eddy current inspection of those bolt holes for cracks and replacing any cracked main wing spar. After these messages, some college grads can skip FAA ATC Academy.
I'm currently using the Heartel Talon, by far the best aerobatic propeller ever come out.
I use the Trailblazer. It adds performance to the Super Decathlon and dependability, and it's rugged.
Heartel's been an excellent partner for Whip Air, just in terms of your product support as well as keeping an eye on the market and developing new products that meet demand.
It's helping us all have better performing airplanes.
It's such a proud honor to fly behind that propeller.
Welcome back. Some college grads can skip FAA ATC Academy. The FAA announced that graduates of 2 college air traffic control programs may bypass the training academy typically required to be sufficiently trained as a controller. The FAA has been struggling with a shortage of air traffic controllers for some years, causing flight delays and controller burnout. Many controllers have been forced to work mandatory 6-day weeks with overtime, and the resulting controller fatigue has been a factor in numerous runway incursions and other incidents. But now the FAA has accepted graduates from the Tulsa Community College and the University of Oklahoma for jobs and said they can, quote, begin immediate facility training, end quote. This means they do not have to attend the FAA's training academy, which has been backlogged for several years. Instead, they said the curricula and advanced technology are essentially identical to what students would receive at the academy and can go right into training at an actual control tower, where they would learn the specific area they'll be working, radar sectors, local procedures, and so on. The FAA says, quote, this new program will provide the same thorough curriculum and advanced technology offered, end quote, at its own academy. The FAA announced in September that it had met its goal of hiring 1,800 controllers in 2024, but did not specify how many the agency gained after accounting for retirements and attrition. And that's our show for today. You can catch episodes of Airborne on YouTube, Roku, or Fire TV. Just search for Aero-News or Airborne, and don't forget to follow us on social media. Thanks for watching.